Okay, this is problem 6.5.49. We're asked to perform the indicated operations and simplify. And so we're subtracting and adding. Regardless of what we're doing in terms of those, we are needing to have a common denominator to do either. So the first thing I'm going to do is factor. This is the difference of squares. So I'm going to go ahead and factor that into 7 minus a and 7 plus a. There's no need to flip this around and write it in descending order unless you want to. This factor is already written with the 7 first, and so it's actually helpful in this problem to keep this written the way that it is. It still fits the difference of squares form. So, okay, so now everything's factored, and if you can recognize, I mean, the 7 minus a's are obvious, those are the same. These two are also the same. So this is an a plus 7, and a plus 7 and 7 plus a are the same thing. Okay, so when we go to identify our LCM here, it's actually going to be 7 minus a and 7 plus a. I'm just going to write it that way, but this is the same thing as that a plus 7 factor. All right, so now our process is to identify what we're missing, and we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by whatever we're missing. And I'm referring to the denominators here. So when I compare this denominator with the LCM, because remember the LCM is our common denominator, that's what we want these to look like, it isn't missing anything. The second fraction is missing the 7 minus a. The third fraction is missing the 7 plus a. So I'm going to multiply by what they're missing in the top and the bottom so that we can have a common denominator here. Okay, and I'm going to show this to you in color, so hopefully you'll be able to see it. So the first fraction, nothing is getting done to it because it is, it already has the common denominator. The second fraction is getting multiplied by the 7 minus a in the top and the bottom. Okay, and the third fraction is getting multiplied by the 7 plus a. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this now. We have a common denominator, and so we can bring our numerators together, and there's going to be a lot of simplifying in the numerator, but let's just go ahead and write out what we have. So we have the 3a plus 77. We're subtracting this numerator then, a plus 11, 7 minus a, and then we have the a minus 11 and the 7 plus a. This now is all over our common denominator of 7 minus a and 7 plus a. Okay, so now there's a lot of simplifying to do. We're going to go ahead and FOIL right here, and we're going to FOIL right here. When we do this FOIL, we're going to have to keep it in parentheses because there's a negative out here, and we're going to have to distribute that negative eventually. Okay, all right, so this looks like this. So foiling this, we get 7a minus a squared plus 77 and minus 11a. When I do this FOIL, I don't need to keep it in parentheses because it's just a positive sign out here. Okay, so this is 7a plus a squared minus 77 and minus 11a. And this is all over our LCM. All right, now let's go ahead and distribute the negative. So we have a negative 7a, positive a squared, negative 77, and a positive 11a. We could have collected like terms before we did that distribution, but there's so much collecting of like terms to do here anyways that I figure we'll just do it all in the same step. Okay, now it's kind of a long problem. Okay, so now we're going to take this numerator and we're going to completely simplify it. Okay, so if we collect like terms, what I'm seeing is 3a, negative 7a, positive 7a, 11a, and negative 11a. Okay, well let's just, before we whip out the calculator, let's look. Negative 7, positive 7 cancel. Positive 11, negative 11 cancel. So we're actually just left with a 3a there. Okay, and we're done with the a's. All right, then we have a positive 77, a negative 77. Those are going to add to be 0. And we do have another negative 77 there. So I'll just go ahead and write that. And then we have a squared and a squared, so that's 2a squared. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite that in descending order because I want to take a look at it and see if it might potentially factor. If it does factor, then we would need to do that and see if it would cancel with anything in the bottom. So I'm going to just try it here. 2a and a, 7 and 11 is what we would need to use if it was going to work. So this is 14, that's 11, positive and negative. Oh, it does factor. Interesting. So that's a positive, negative, yep. So it factors into this, and it does have a common factor with what we have in the bottom. It's the a plus 7 and the 7 plus a are the common factor there. So we'd actually cancel these, and we would be left here with 2a minus 11 over 7 minus a. This problem illustrates something really good, which is when you get to the end of these problems, you always have to check the numerator and see if it will factor further, because sometimes it does, and sometimes it has a common factor with something in the denominator, and then we have to simplify. That's this portion of the directions when they say and simplify. Sometimes it simplifies, sometimes it doesn't, but you do always have to check that. Okay, so that would be the answer in this problem.